How have you guys been, dude?
Really good. It's been super busy, uh, even with the real estate part of it. I mean, we also, obviously working with the organization and all of the other things that we've got going on, and just interviewing people and doing exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Um, but I was just actually putting together a a post. Our team we've taken 12 new listings, we have 8 under contract, and we've had 2 closings since um the 16th, the day before St. Patrick's Day, basically when this all kind of started. So it's been insane. And then for the MLS, since that day there's been 2,030 listings taken. 2,511 have gone under contract, and 2,137 closings have happened.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, so it's just still rolling right along. Obviously, everybody's taking precaution, being safe, doing the right thing, and not doing anything unnecessary. But um, there's a lot of people that are stuck out there. Their house might have been under contract, on March 10th somewhere else, and their house is going to close, and they have nowhere to live. So those are the
Right.
people that are essential, and we need to help. So I'm sure you guys are dealing with the same thing. I mean, there's still a lot of business rolling because things are happening, regardless of what's going on. They need to keep moving.
There is, man. I mean, we've been super busy. We've had like probably one of the second best months we've ever had since we opened 3 years ago. Um, this month. So it's been rolling in. Um, People are still moving in from out of state, which that people are moving out and all that. So that's created some, I think, more of a headache for most folks than the actual closings and the buying and selling of the homes itself is just getting to try to move during this time.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of different moving parts, and trying to get all of those moving parts synchronized to work together. We're so used to having them work pretty much in synchronicity, but everybody's working on the fly, and then you have all the ancillary businesses and companies that are helping that process happen, trying to reinvent the way they're doing things on the fly, and not have any hiccups. So it's definitely been interesting. But I think overall, it sounds like you guys are doing really well, and we're doing really well. And I think the people that are adjusting and not putting their head in the sand, saying, "Oh no, the sky's falling," those
I
people that are running forward are the people that are doing actually very well in this unprecedented time.
What have you guys, so since I reached out to you last, I kind of developed that I was going to run with a new series I'd call Flying with the Flock and ask about 5 questions. And it probably was created in my head based on what I was going to ask you. But what, what kind of has caught you guys by surprise over the last few weeks? How have you kind of adjusted to that? Have you done anything different? And then, like, what are you guys doing that basically is the same, Craig?
Well, I guess what's kind of caught us off guard. I mean, with being in a cloud based company with EXP, it's very normal to have a high amount of collaboration and people talking throughout the country because of all the platforms that we use. I mean, we're fairly used to this type of activity. Communicating remotely and through different tools that we have within the company, like Facebook Workplace, which a lot of people don't even know what that is, but it's more of
Right.
a work business platform that Facebook has. We utilize a lot of that. Of course, we do Zoom. We have a 3D virtual world that we use, and do we have like 50 to set probably over 100 hours of education right now in classes that they're doing. So there's a lot of interaction there. But to answer your question, that's actually just driven to a whole new level. This is the third Zoom call I've been on today. um,
Yeah.
and I'm sure, same for you and a lot of the other people. It just is pulling people closer together, with more of a focus on time, on and sharing ideas of what's going on and what's different. So I think that's been the biggest surprise is like, we were already doing that at a high level, but it's even just, come to another level now.
Yeah. I've kind of mentioned this in a video that I did, but probably unbeknownst to both of us, some of the ways that we do business and some of our systems and processes are, I don't think they were built for times like these, Craig, but they're magnified, and I see how valuable they've become in times like this where we didn't have to worry about, switching to a paperless type system. We didn't have to worry about, taking cash payments and all kinds of other stuff that, if you haven't adapted to these times, it's going to force people to kind of start thinking that way where, our even our service center, they're all working remotely. They're used to having a callback feature that helps on our hold time, and we've been doing that for months. So it's interesting to see how we can kind of turn pretty quickly without an interruption in our business. And it sounds like you guys are set up very similarly, and
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. I think what we're all witnessing here, which is kind of interesting, is we're all witnessing the future. We're basically fast forwarding a reality to a look inside the future, because this is the way things are going to be done on a normal basis. Usually in life there's an evolution. The public is not ready to go remote overnight.
right.
And it was forced to. So, more and more companies are moving to remote and moving to, 3D platforms and Zoom and some other things that are out there. And, on a part-time basis, my buddy works for a company, works for 3M. And,
Mhm.
he works from home like 2-3 times a week. And he works through an online, platform, which is a combination of like video and email. But that is going to all evolve into some kind of 3D platform where you're literally walking around, kind of like Verbella, which that's the company we use inside of EXP. And it really allows you to interact with groups of people and be in an environment. Zoom is fantastic for something like we're doing, an interview
Right.
or a meeting, but to actually be inside of an environment, like walking into a building and being in a room with people and seeing other people interact within that environment, is a whole different feeling. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. It's interesting. Like I said, I've got CNBC on in the background with all the stocks, and they're interviewing all these tech companies and different things like that. So as I'm working, I'm listening to some of this stuff, and they're talking a lot about what we're talking about is like fast forward into the future. And this is where how different companies are going to recognize, hey, we can run this way. And it's actually a lot more efficient in some ways. So
Let me ask you this, man. So from your standpoint on the real estate side, will house showings go to more of a virtual thing? Do you see that taking a little bit longer to adapt? Because even if I ask myself the question, would I buy a house like virtually? That would be hard for me to commit to, I think. But do you
uh,
see that becoming maybe more of a norm down the road, I guess, and something to your point where it'll just be people will be getting used to that?
well, here's where I think that will go. I mean, that's a great question. I think, that's a big purchase, right? It's one of the biggest purchases, if not the biggest purchase we'll ever make in our lives. So I think you definitely need to feel it, touch it, experience it. Um, but what I think technology will do is allow the agent and the consumer to get a much better feel for what that looks like, so that we could either put it in our top 2 or top 3, or push it off to the side and move on to the next possibility. So I think and that's what we're doing right now. We're using all of the technology, whether it be a 3D virtual home tour, a live walkthrough like a FaceTime or something like that, virtual tours. We're using Google, Google Earth. See
Right.
what's around your house, see what the different neighborhoods look like. Look at the golf course, if it's a golf course community, see where everything's located. What's at the end of your street, that type of stuff. And then doing some legwork for them. What's the local restaurants? What's the school district? All of those different things that we can find out without going to the actual house. So right now there's certain places that are shelter in place or stay at home. And, you can't do that, right? You can't show the house right now, but we can do
Right.
all of those things with the 10 properties that they're interested in, and narrow it down to 2 or 3 by the time they're ready to see that home. And I think that's where the future will go as
To
well.
pinpoint it.
You'll have
Yeah.
a lot more of your homework done before you walk in that house, and it'll make the process more streamlined.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given, whether it's personal or business, man, that you can share with us that may help some folks out right now?
Well, this is something that I see, and I think this is something that everyone that's in business should recognize this. Whether you're in business for yourself, or you're an entrepreneur, or you're just a personality. If there ever was a time to be noticed and to get your message out there and to build your brand or build your company, now is the time to do it, because the majority of people in audiences are already on social media, but now everybody's on social media because everybody's at home. So where, at any given time, 40% of the world was on social media, that number is probably more like 60 or 70 right now. So if you're consistent with a message and giving information, more of a just giving information,
Right.
more of a message, helping people, giving quality information, and you're consistent with that, I think now is the time that you can build your brand and really take it to the next level. So when people step outside of this, hopefully sooner than later, you're going to be a personality or a brand that person knows, like they're the guy for insurance. Right. I see that guy every day. He's on there, whether they watch you or not, they see you pop up and you're giving value, and it's just repetition. I think that's the biggest advice I can give right now, is if there ever was a time, you need to get on now. Do live chats, do live videos, do interviews, do a podcast,
now's the time to start it.
Anything. Just get on there and get consistent, for sure.
What's your favorite local takeout right now, Craig?
We've done a couple of different ones. We did a Firehouse Pizza, which is right around the corner. It just opened up. We did Outback last night. We live way out, almost to 150 in Denver, and Mooresville Outback delivered to us, which was pretty interesting. I know they're not like the local, but they're also owned by a franchise person.
Oh yeah,
we got to support them too. We've done takeout at Joey's over in Denver as well. We even went to the new brewery that opened up in Denver. I forgot what the name of it is. Oh my gosh. But I
didn't know one opened up over there in Denver.
Yeah. Man, I'm totally drawing a blank. That's terrible. Larry Griffin from Griffin Tire, they sold all their franchises, and this is one of their
opened up a brewery.
So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful brewery, and they were doing the fill your growler type thing. And went in there, filled up a couple to support them, and it was kind of cool. They actually closed for a couple days because they were so overwhelmed with the support. So,
that's good.
Going in and out of there. So, obviously safely.
Yeah.
They had a cool setup.
I'll try to wrap it up with who's a friend of yours, or who would you suggest that I can reach out to and kind of go through these 5 or so questions with them, maybe help promote their business, get them out onto video, or who should I be talking to, Craig?
Two people I would say. I mean, Kathy Burns on our team. She's fantastic.
Yep.
She's always got some great insight on things. Steve Kinsler with Element Funding is also a great interview. He's got some really good insight on what's going on right now in the industry, and things you could be doing and what you could do for clients and help.
Yeah.
And then also just local businesses. Shelley and I are actually interviewing the owner of Harvey's today.
Oh yeah, I saw that
live.
Yep.
Just interviewing some local businesses, kind of get their word and their marketing out there, their brand, and how they're handling this and what they're doing to give back to the community as far as their services and put them on.
Yeah.
Stage. So
good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it as always. I know you're out there trucking along, moving forward. So
yeah,
it's good to see you.
Yeah, man. You too. Always appreciate the calls and the talks. We always have an awesome talk, and I get a lot out of it anytime we talk. So I appreciate that.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it too. I'm gonna reach out to those folks. So if they're watching, I'm gonna be calling.
Cool. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Craig. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right.